Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We just witnessed a very intense Game 1. It feels almost exactly like yesterday, gentlemen. In North America, they build our hopes up at the start of the game, and then they get torn down as we move into late game. You can see the damage now on your screen. Soul kind of praised this guy, or we didn't praise him. Googer praised this guy as the carry of the team, and you can see that is at least coming true in the damage department.
Oh yeah, I mean, we did as well. I think it's fair to say that he's the best performing member on this team right now, and he's again facing off, as we highlighted before the game, against like the weakest performing member on Immortals, and he gives this massive mismatch in this series. Like, the meta is so heavily in favor of Kongdoo monsters because Rochu is not the strongest top laner on paper, can play tanks, and the strongest part of the team right now is the bottom lane, and they can get to play 2v2 lanes where Immortals have that problem. They can't really carry from top lane because it's tanks. They have to rely on the bottom lane, and they can't win 2v2 against Soul and Googer.
Yeah, I mean, that feel when Flame has, way more damage than your AD carry on Maokai, it's just not a good look. Cody said, I think that one of the things that we were kind of talking about in the back room was whether or not Cody-san should bring out Ezreal for himself. Obviously, needs to be very reliant on landing your skill shots in order to actually deal damage with the Ezreal, but it would be a safer champion for him. And seeing him walk straight into the team fight by himself and just completely get crushed by Kongdoo Monster, I think that maybe he should go for something with a little bit more mobility and escape tools rather than the Ashe, who is there. It's great for the utility, firing off that arrow, trying to get picks, but I think he needs to stay alive.
Yeah, I definitely agree he needs to stay alive in the late game fights, but it was that very clear plan from Immortals, was we need a bot lane with tons of CC that can set up Dardak for his ganks, and it actually worked in the start when Dardak got the first 3 kills, and then it was we're going to late game team fights, we have this really strong comp that can win late game fights, but then your AD carry needs to stay alive.
And the thing for me is that Ezreal, yes, it gives you a get out of jail free card, but Cody-san was putting himself in situations he never should have been in the first place, and that feels to me like his youth and inexperience on a big stage like this may be starting to show through, because you just can't afford to make those positional mistakes, because I don't think an arcane shift added to his toolkit really would have saved him in a lot of those scenarios. He was far too deep in enemy lines, far too frequently.
Yeah, and I think one of the other problems here that we haven't really touched on yet was Ole had an absolutely abysmal performance on the Bard compared to that first game that Immortals played just a few days ago. It was complete polar opposite, flashing in, trying to get those cosmic bindings, consistently missing them.
And of course, the two things that we're critical of right now are the Bard and the Ashe, and those were the priority picks in Game 1. The things that Immortals wanted to get their hands on, were willing to give up the Rek'Sai for, and it just, of course, did not pan out. Now Immortals taking a chance to ban Lee Sin, LeBlanc ban on the opposite side for Kongdoo Monster. What do they need to change here in picks and bans? Is it just that Ezreal? Is this the time now where you put Flame on a carry and just say, screw what's strong and we'll just play what's comfortable?
I think that is definitely an option. I'd like to see Flame on Kennen again, and you use Dardak on top side to kind of play around that lane and try and snowball that way. I think Immortals' composition was okay before. I think their strategy made a lot of sense, but the execution in the mid game was such a big issue for them because they never understood how to actually play on all 3 lanes. They would always forget the one lane where Cassiopeia went to and had to go catch waves all the time. They never got to group when they were pushing in waves more than once at a dragon. So the mid game was just too slow from them, and we saw Liquid have the same issue yesterday, and it is a very traditional Western issue against Korean teams.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things open right now for Immortals if they want to go for it. I mean, the Rek'Sai would be a safe first pick, but the Rise is still on the table, and I think that might have to just be a snatch up here for them for Pobelter in the mid lane.
And of course, Cassio taking off the board as well, so that counter pick that we saw used so frequently both throughout the group stages and yesterday in our first semifinal, not on the line, or not available. Rengar also once again banned out by Kongdoo Monster, but the Thresh is up and available. I mean, I don't really think Thresh deserves the ban priority that he's getting. So I think just getting an extra ban here, essentially, just making sure that the mid lane champion pool is shut down.
Now, I do think the Rise sets up Immortals for that potential Kennen pick later, where they want to run 1-3-1 comps, and you have 2 very strong side lane players that can actually kind of split up Kongdoo monsters, and you don't just opt into pure team fights. And then once you get to late game, Rise can really become that monster we know he can be. But still a lot of picks to go. They might still just go full tank comp and say we just have good scaling again. We're just going to do exactly what we did last game, but just have a much better mid game. Cody-san's pick though is interesting. I think still going Ashe is okay for the utility, but Ezreal is available.
I mean, this is the same. It's the same mode of thinking here with the Jhin. If they were going to lock that in, still have that long range utility to try to slow people up with the curtain call, but they are going to go with the Ezreal, and I do like this a bit more. This is going to make him be safer. You also have the Thresh coming in for Ole. play this before in the group stage. Wasn't the best performance as well on that, but this is a champion historically that he is fairly strong on.
Yeah, we saw this exact bot lane yesterday from Liquid, where they actually played against Karma support as well. And it's a bot lane, if you're really strong, if you have well-performing support, especially on Thresh, that can actually have kill pressure and do really well in this 2v2. The problem is, if the Thresh starts missing some of these hooks, you just get destroyed in that lane. You lose your tower as well. So this is really Immortals saying that they trust in their bot lane to actually play out this lane properly. Otherwise, Kongdoo's going to get a free tower like in the last game. 10 minutes in, Kongdoo took the tower 2v2.
And I'm really wondering what the priority is on the Rise pick. They have to put so much confidence into Pobelters who see the Twitch locked in because they gave up Karma Rek'Sai as the first rotation with Zyra taken off the board. So Kongdoo set themselves up for a winning bottom lane off the start, and I don't feel like it's the same story on the side of Immortals.
Definitely a tough pick and ban phase so far for Immortals, feeling like they had to take that Rise first pick. And yeah, again with the skill matchup in bot lane that was lost by Immortals in the last game. Twitch I actually really like against Ezreal. You can hide behind your own minions and you can just put a W down and kind of take the trades with them. The first few levels can be rough, but then once you get past like level 4, you're going to be more than fine. And Soul has been so good in fights in terms of his positioning. Give him camouflage as well, so he can sneak around wards and everything and then just pop out of nowhere and actually destroy the team. So Hecarim as an answer and Maokai as an answer against Twitch is good because you have things that can outdive onto the backline. If Pobelter can find a proper flank, they can kill Soul, but this requires Immortals to play really well in fights. Like in my opinion, Immortals comp is actually hard to execute, and they didn't show good execution in the last game, and that is where they now have to really show how good they can be in the mid to late game fights.
Of course, we look at the Hecarim pick, though, it is very powerful for the Snowballs. A similar story for the Rise pick, so maybe if Immortals can find that similar early game lead, they maybe not have to fight on the terms, may not have to fight even team fights, but of course, inside of Kongdoo Monster, Twitch feels like the inevitability card. Once you get to the late game, there's nothing you're going to be able to do that against that. Orianna, a similar story, especially with the Poppy and Rek'Sai delivery systems. What are Immortal shots here to pull this one out? What are we looking for from this team to find a win?
We need a better performance in the bot lane 2v2.
For sure.
Ollis, especially on the Thresh, has to play really flawless here to make sure they get through this laning phase. Dardak needs to get fed on the Hecarim. Trinity Force coming in early from him. Have these two guys that can dive the backline, him and Flame, and actually take down Soul. And Pobelter on Rise needs to be able to split push and then flank in these fights, but it requires coordination and perfect execution. And that is tough for a new squad.
Yeah, and as well, like once Dardak hits that level 6 point, he can't be overzealous. He can't just be going in with the Onslaught of Shadows repeatedly because he's not going to be tanking for quite some time. And once that Twitch can get some items in, he's going to start shredding.
Of course, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. The second match. Will Immortals be able to bring it back to 3 games, or will Kongdoo close it out with a 2-0? We're going to send it over to Freak and Papa Smithy as we get into our second game in this series.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift, everybody. We are here to witness Game 2 between Immortals and Kongdoo Monster. Sure, but that's expected. You can see that on the screen. No big deal. I am Freak here with Papa Smithy. We are ready to bring you another game. Now, hopefully this will get resolved soon enough, but as we had seen heading into the game, yes, Kongdoo Monster had won game number 1. It was a very close one, but it was a very good mid to late game shot calling, and I think some major mid to late game shot calling mistakes from Immortals to allow a lot of those victories to happen. Nonetheless, a fairly secure victory by the end of it all. And now it's Immortals who have to turn around and bring it to game 3.
Yeah, the veteran status and rookie status, you have to say, of the rosters in terms of how they're gelling was on full display in that mid game, but not in the early game. And that's where the NA fans in both series have had things to be excited about. Just so you guys know, on your screen, Flame is having a small mic issue, so hopefully that will be corrected momentarily. But it gives us a bit more time to dive into the comps that we're seeing. And
look at Flame.
That's true.
It's a zoomed-in shot of just Flame. This is
an NA fan dream right here, because next year you're going to see plenty of Flame.
That's true. In person, if you really want, show up to the studio. No big deal. 9 weeks of
What's
play.
the address there? Come on, let's complete the plug.
I think it's 12312 West Olympic Boulevard.
There you go. Plug that into your Uber.
There you go.
Get to the studio.
In Los Angeles, California, 90064, I believe, is the entire address.
Damn, now you can deliver pizzas there.
I mean, I've accidentally ordered food there.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you at home or at the studio?
Well,
at the time?
I mean, to be fair, I've unaccidentally ordered food to the studio. And then had it saved on the profile, and then accidentally ordered food to the studio when I meant to send it at home. So, but that's off topic. Actually, although I know occasionally you guys have to fill a long time with OGM broadcasts. Usually, we're a bit sharper, or we have an analyst to toss to in North America, so I feel less bad, or I feel more bad just like talking about delivering food.
Well, we have an analyst desk, but I refuse to toss them. I
want
to know more about food.
I mean, some of their headsets are off right now, but we are much more intelligent and better commentators than I can see Achilleos and Division right there. But they can't hear me. But trust me, we are better than them. The fact that they're not chiming in to correct means that they agree as well.
It's good times, good times. And the comps here are interesting, too. Let's talk about a little bit of League of Legends. I know that's novel, but we'll throw it in there.
Hecarim jungle from Dardoch, I think, is interesting.
Sure, and
Previous game he played Gragas, now he's on Hecarim.
And we saw the Hecarim from Reignover as well. So
True.
It was one of those names after Lee Sin, after Rek'Sai, that people are like, okay, this stuff is pretty good. And the reason why I like it here is consider the threats on the side of Kongdoo Monster. Specifically Twitch and Orianna, both of them want to open up far from the fight, or at least Orianna wants to be dictating the fight from out of range or using the shield to get a lot of her initiation in. Hecarim dives in. One of Orianna and Twitch is going to have to flash or really get the heck out of dodge. At the same time, maybe Maokai's flanking in. Maybe Ryze has plopped Thresh on top of someone, or Thresh has hit a hook. There's so much to respect that there has to be fights, you'd have to think, where one of Orianna and Twitch will not be able to do damage, or at least set up the way they want to.
I agree. I think there's a lot of very interesting mechanical interactions here. So Orianna and Twitch, as you're mentioning very heavily, low escape, low mobility champions that are easily beset by a Maokai flank or Hecarim ultimate, or even a Realm Warp from Pro Belter's Rise that you can get on these carries. Now that said, it's a double shield comp from Kongdoo Monster. Edge and Cougar on the Orianna and Karma can shield the target required. What's also nice for Immortals is that Cody Sun's playing Ezreal, a champion that has backline reach for the marksman role, so we can actually help those dives go even better, cancel out one of the true shot barrage.
And a lot of people are embracing the camouflage mechanics and the longer time in stealth that it gives Twitch, and in some ways that's beneficial, especially roaming between lanes. What's really important for him here is that he'll have that Q max second very comfortably. He can take, I believe it's 12 to 13 seconds to open up for the first time, and that's so much time where maybe they're DPSing down a front line of Immortals. Maybe Hecarim's like, wait, where the hell is this Twitch? I want to take him down. And if he can open up exactly where he wants with the pass-through damage, even though on paper there's a lot of ways to get to the Twitch, you have to be able to see him to open up exactly like you want to for Immortals.
I agree, 10 to 14 seconds, the duration of stealth, and he maxed it second, so by late game team points it will be 14. You can see the early shove for Kongdoo Monster. No surprise at all. Karma outpushes Thresh. Who would have thought? And it looks like the last under turret well enough.
And the other fun thing is that now with the change to the Venom cast, Twitch outpushes Ezreal even more than he used to, because he can just plop the cast onto the minion wave, wait a few seconds, get that expunge on a full minion wave. And this matchup's actually gone further in the advantage of Twitch. Sure, there's a world where Ezreal can get in there and assassinate him 1v1. But apart from that, in the 2v2 laning phase, Kongdoo Monster actually have a far superior duo lane to Immortals.
I agree that Twitch definitely got a lot better with the changes. For what it's worth, Immortal support Ole on this Thresh got a better laning mastery as well, though. Now that you can use Courage of the Colossus, it allows you to be much tankier. Before you could actually focus Thresh in a team fight or in an all-in, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But now with the extra couple hundred HP from the Thresh Courage of the Colossus shield, it's much less an opportunity, and it does help a little bit with Immortals 2-on-2.
I think it's really strong in laning. In the late game, you're still pretty squishy, right? You're still going to hook that primary member and die. I guess maybe you can flash away instead of just being instantly deleted with your 2,000 health. But in the laning phase, especially, the level 2, level 3 trades, when you have access to all your ability, you're surprisingly tanky with the Courage of the Colossus. So especially now, before we see the nerfs, the laning pattern here, hit a hook, go in, and maybe get some damn good trades against Kongdoo Monster.
As long as you're not inside of a gigantic minion wave, because you know Karma can lock you up easily. We're seeing Dardoch look for his first gank. He's trying to figure out what he can slink around. But
optimistic?
A little bit optimistic, yeah. I mean, you can lantern in, and sometimes it's the play. Right now, the flash, that's going to be the CC. Landa Cougar flashing the wall, but now has nowhere to go, so he flashes just to delay his death, which maybe means something, but Cody Sun 99.99 times out of 100, he gets this kill. And they're going to give it over to Dardic. He doesn't want to give up an entire lane's worth of XP and gold. Cougar buying a lot of time. The satchel, yep, buys even more time.
Was he hit there?
He might execute. He actually might execute here. Phobos showing up, and instead it's the mid laner getting the kill. Rune Prison going to be there.
Time wasted.
It's true, but it's at the very least Dardoch and Phobos are wasting their time. Okay, nothing went over to the bottom lane, so Cody Sun and Ole didn't gain anything specifically other than 2-on-1 time in lane, but suddenly it's a first blood for Pobelter when he wasn't supposed to be involved at all.
Now, only thing that you could say that was good from Kongdoo is that Dardoch did use Ghost for completely no reward, but the kill going over to Pobelter is even more ideal kill participation than the Hecarim. It's actually a bit of a line ball there just because Hecarim wants to go Trinity Force into tanky without building anything else, so Hecarim picking up the gold maybe might be ideal.
Oh, what a sick hook by Ole, and he's alone right now. It's a hard 1v2. Soul does have sums, he flashes. Lantern to follow a bit more, and they can't get enough damage. He's still got heal if Cody Sun gets the Q, so good by Soul to get away from that fight. I feel like Immortals could have cheated a bit farther up and make the flash a bit worse, but the fact that was only a summoner burn is pretty insane.
Oh man, the best players in the world play on the edge of madness. You play on that razor's edge between just misposition and ideal positioning in terms of getting minions, in terms of trades. Soul overstayed in lane because he wanted to get certain CS values because he did not feel threatened. Really nice mechanical play from Ole. But for Soul to not even have to blow his heal and survive and even be able to continue laning now that Gugu's back in lane is the most beneficial and the biggest way you could turn a terrible situation for the Twitch.
Definitely agree, but right now we are in a game where Immortals hold on to a pretty comfortable 500-600 gold lead. It's actually better than it was before. Remember in game 1, they were losing kind of all the lanes that weren't named after Flame very early on, and this time around the CS numbers quite a bit closer. A lot of that, of course, Gugur out of the lane for 45 seconds at a time, but it's made this game even better early than it was in game 1.
Are able to take stock. You know, I talked about the optimistic gank path, but Ole has been on point. You know, the Dark Passage into the Flash instant E was actually really strong there. Got them the kill they were looking for, even though it was very, very delayed. And now there are certainly patterns to play around.
Yeah.
Don't have vision of either side of the jungles. They have to respect Dardoch potentially being around. They probably don't respect level 6. If he picked up the kill, maybe there would be a world where he had enough experience, but not really realistic, not really worth playing around. Very much an edge case scenario. And now we see Punch actually trying to get them that information they're looking for.
Ooh, and actually is going to reveal Dardoch, so nicely played right there. They know where the Immortals jungler is, and you can have Kongdoo Monster play around that. Of course, same scenario here with that Scryer's Bloom being hit. You know that Punch is around there as well, so similar info gained, and unlucky for Flame. Couldn't quite root Roach inside of turret range. The shield bounced outside anyway, so the root didn't really matter. Cody Sun gonna have to respect this a little bit. Does have to burn Arcane Shift. Running a little bit low on mana now.
See the laning phase continue now. Sinmao guys did pretty damn well in the 1v1s here. Ult can be used a bit more liberally by Flame. It does have a longer cooldown. Oh, don't lane.
Here's the attempt in. Gugur in onto Cody Sun. Not enough damage there, but Soul's going to be an easy pickup. Does not have flash. Means the solo kill comes through, plus the 2-on-2 on this one. Nicely played. I think Ole helped set the one up at least a little bit, and the Dardoch gank incredibly important. Does mean that the blue up can be stolen away by Punch.
And just Kongdoo Monsters not playing around their vision. They had a control ward down. They had wards in the brush, but nice gank angle from Dardoch. Didn't even have 6. That was only the Ghost being back off cooldown. We're going to see the replay. Let's look for the time when Kongdoo realized
right
they're
now,
in trouble. Just now is
and Soul stays.
Yeah, because of the hook coming through. Soul could have tried to piece out. We're not 100% sure if he had Q up. It looks like he did, but it wasn't going to mean much. The camouflage isn't going to be the same as the stealth previously. 2 big kills, and Kongdoo now trying to force it.
And Roach rooted in turret range means several hundred damage dealt. Nice flash to get away from Shockwave. That was crucial from Flame.
This could be bad.
Yeah, too much turret damage here. It's warmed up way too heavily, and Flame outplaying the 1v3 gank, losing flash, but worth it.
And now this is suddenly an even bigger lead than we saw in the previous game. Things are going right for Immortals and going woeful for Kongdoo. Whenever they are making their moves, they're getting no trades for it. 1,600 gold, 8 minutes in. Okay, they're keeping their buffs. Okay, it's not a disaster, but there's multiple members, and of course we do have great scaling, being able to go selfish builds and scaling builds inside of Immortals, and no punishment from Kongdoo Monster.
I gotta say, I'm thinking about that bot lane gank though, and oh, this is so slick. Lantern over, Roach does have flash, gets rooted up. He can't get it on Dardoch because of the W, doesn't really matter though. Ole sadly steals the kill away, but I think it was the right choice. If Roach eats into flash, he's out of that gank, so Ole, smart to actually just land the auto attack. Roach probably would have lived or forced Dardoch's ult if he didn't auto there. So smart by Ole to steal.
And the Analyst desk was, wondering about Ezreal. Taking away the Ezreal inside of Immortals, one thing Ezreal does do, can snipe away CS from very far. Sure doesn't have a lot of lane control.
Best 1v2 AD carry by far.
Exactly, and Ole can leave lane. We've already seen his Thresh mechanics. This game certainly on point, more so than his Bard mechanics last game. Allowed him to roam, and they're getting the benefit from that. And sure, some turret damage from Kongdoo, but unless that turret damage turns into first brick, it's not a massive cost for Immortals.
Absolutely the case. Yes, it's some damage, but you're right. The break point is not how much damage the turret deals. It's if the health bar reaches 0 right now, and it's the important thing to look for. It's certainly a possibility here for Kongdoo Monster to go for it.
But it's the thing that's changed, it's worth knowing, because of course in the past, having 3 low turrets was less consequential. It was actually pretty good. You'd probably prefer that than actually breaking the first, but with the first brick gold and how much that snowballs the early game, it is so crucial to DPS it down first rather than prep multiple lanes to give inevitable gold in a few minutes' time.
Punch is going to chill, going to wait to tunnel out until after Edge gets the kill. There we go, 2 blue buffs in a row for Edge in the mid lane. Of course, they stole the earlier blue away from Dardoch's jungle because he ganked bot lane. Soul looking to do something a little bit cheeky. I like this ward right here. If you put it too far down, the turret can see it, but this guarantees they know if Thresh is waiting behind the wall, and it's out of range of the pink ward earlier in that brush. It's just very optimally placed.
And that's the big story there, is that, look, they now have 100% firm confirmation of the control ward. They would have suspected it before, but it does show you if Thresh exits lane during early laning or 2v2 laning patterns, whereas he could be out of the brush. He could be looking to land in someone, and it gives you a lot of information. It can't be spotted, as here's the trade.
Big shockwave Poland is going to have to ghost away, and yeah, knew he couldn't take any more of that fight. If Edge can flash Q, Poland is dead. He's got to really respect this. This could be the one.
Though.
Okay.
With Pabelta having flash and Edge having that information, optimistic to think you're going to get the Q in.
Dardoch wants in, lands the E's. He's going to burn the flash away, saving the ultimate for now. Edge is not even going to burn it. What? Why would you flash there? That is a very, very silly play. Now Punch. Yeah, can't find the gank. Dardoch ults now, but here comes Soul. Pobelter, one more auto. There's the E. No, gets the shield. But the ulti's enough, and Punch lands the Prey Seeker, and now Ole forced to run away. Nice job on the turnaround. Punch and Soul making that one happen.
Yeah, really unclear. We're going to have to see the replay for why he flashed at the end. He was trying to hold the flash to flash the ult, but Dardoch knew exactly how much damage he did with the early Sheen. Well, watch the replay. If you flash, you get ulted. I understand the mind game there. That's why Edge doesn't flash early.
Flash there.
But he's dead at this point. He thinks he can outrange the Q, but the range is even longer than it was previously. So Soul opens up. If the kill goes to Twitch, who doesn't want to ult, it'd be ideal. But just as he commits to ulting, Prey Seeker registers, kill doesn't go to Twitch. So even the single kill on the board for Kongdoo doesn't have ideal gold values passed over to the Twitch. It actually only goes to the Rex side.
That's right, exactly. And I believe Google got an assist as well. Yeah, there's only 1 kill on the map, so Soul only got 75 gold for his... okay. Fighting the bot lane, gotta go for that one first. Ole's still taking aggro, they're running out. He won't burn down. I think he'll survive this, but you're seeing the 700 heal, the run. Edge wants in, does have Shockwave. Nope, gonna have to jump that one away. Q's gonna be back up in a second. There's the attempt, and yes, Cody-san smart to flash that one. He knew that was his fate. Still flash down, good gank. Now Flame wants in, gets the big shield, looks for a kill. Here comes the match TP from Roach. They're gonna kite back to make sure they go okay this one. Roach cancels TP, now look for the re-engage, but Flame's not in range of anybody else. And it's gonna be Roach with a little bit of free time walking to top lane first. Flame will mirror with the recall. But it looks like a health bar lead to the bot lane for Immortals. No, it's gonna be a full reset.
So real important point there was that Soul had ultimate up but did not have enough mana to activate it. And in a world where there was a 4 vs 4 tank battle, he would have been the difference. He would have been able to do damage, get the reset, do a lot of damage. Because he had no mana, he wasn't able to truly engage the fight. And it was smart of Roach to not teleport in, because he would have ended up baiting his team. It's very easy to see if ults are up, but the mana management and things like that are a little bit more subtle. The teleport cancel buys time. Good CS now goes over, only now just matching, unfortunately, the CS values of Flame, so not able to get a gain in bot lane. But remember, Kongdoo traded pretty well. They got flashes against, they had a summoner spell advantage in that trade, even though it looked like Soul was going to get popped under turret.
Yeah.
How it opened up, it ended up pretty well for Kongdoo Monster.
Right, exactly. It didn't end up hurting too badly overall, and we just still sit at this 2,000 gold difference.
It's an early Trinity Force, you have to say, for the Hecarim.
Dardoch, 13:37 into the game, manages to sneak all the way into this brush. Now They know it's risky in general. They know their wards aren't perfect. They're going to find Ole, so here comes the fight. It's going to be a 4-man engage. They're looking for Soul, but they don't land the true shot barrage at all, so it buys a lot of time. And I don't know if Dardak has the damage. The flash to follow away. Shockwave's going to land as well. Cody's finally does the turnaround. Dardak's still going to die, though. Poets are going to put out plenty of damage out, but he's going to find Cougar pretty easily. No, it's a good flash to get away. And long story short, 2 for 2, a pretty close one overall. The top laners still trading blows.
Well fought by Kongdoo Monster there. It looked like it would be much worse for them, but Soul played once again on the edge, uses flash at the last.
Nice.
Still ends up being 2v2.
I think as Roach is going, Grasp the Undying here. He's actually got better trading against Flame in general. That cooldown is obviously much shorter than Courage of the Colossus. Flame still forcing him away. Nicely played. And of course, no TP for either one means getting back to the lane is going to be hard. Punch first to get the top lane.
Yeah, Roach was pulling back, waiting for the passive to come back once again. Needs that shield to win trades, otherwise it's very low. A lot of members top. Remember, Moby Boots Thresh rolling in as well. Uh-oh.
Yeah, here comes the Realm Warp. The tunnel cooldown is down, but Punch still going to get tagged with a W. Not a lot more to follow through with, but hey, that's a flash forced by a good quick roam by Pobelter. We're seeing him play much better than I think he did earlier on in the tournament.
It's been a breathing room for Twitch to push up the lane, but because he's only solo, even though they prepped that outer bot lane turret earlier, I don't know if he'll be able to take it down. Cody-san will take his time to get to bot lane. Rek'Sai tunnels in. They're looking for first brick here. Would be the first major objective to Kongdoo Monster this game.
And they're going to get it. There's really no chance to stop this one. So nicely played here, winning the bot lane. Oh, sorry, not first pick. It was picked up a little while ago. But either way, it's still a good pickup, of course. Turret is there, nicely done. Yeah, all the earlier pressure bot lane. My bad for missing that one.
Yeah, my bad as well. We didn't appreciate that it was taken down after those poor trades in bot lane. So it's only a turret, but still a turret with no cost so far.
A turret for just a little bit of time spent, but nothing really gained yet on the rest of the map. We'll see if Immortals goes for Drake. The thing is, Kongdoo Monster have the health and mana bars to fight for the Ocean Drake if they want to. And no, it's Soul going for a big play right here, looking in on a Cody-san. He's got to know he's very attackable here. Oh, nice knock-up. Gets away from the Lantern. Now Roach going to tackle Ole as well. They're going in for the damage of it. Cody's going to walk away pretty safely. And now Roach attacked up by Pobo. Their hook's going to land. Into the back line goes Dardak. But why? The rest of your team is nowhere to be found. He did not need to take that fight. Flame, of course, not matching the TP. Just going to get some alone time on the turret. But a kill and an Ocean Drake, I think, worth it.
I completely agree, Freak. It looked like Dardak was trying to buy time. There was no Flame to be able to engage. His teleport was not up. So that's what the thing that Kongdoo realized is there was always going to be an outnumbered fight from their perspective. Important for them to steady their confidence, win some skirmishes. It will just be a kill and an Ocean Drake for the top lane turret. Even though Poppy is close, she will not get there soon enough. So in terms of a gold trade, it's actually just fine from Immortals' perspective.
Yeah.
But it's what it means on a grander scale they'll be able to check in on in about 10 minutes time.
And we're going to check in on a bit more as well with the TP advantage now being on Flame's hands. Now, there aren't a lot of objectives left to play for. It's only mid lane outer. That's pretty hard to TP flank in the general sense. But we'll see if Immortals can make a play for that part of the map.
What it does mean is that only really mid lane is a safe lane for Twitch to open up in or to enter now, because if you enter top lane or bot lane, you'll just see a flank teleport and a dead Twitch. Realistically, won't be able to get away. So the options for Twitch kind of get lower, and the moment that he pushes past the river, the double control wards or not, he will be chased down by Maokai. So difficult currently for Soul to find farm in side lanes.
Absolutely agree. We'll see if this is going to happen. Double tier, of course, stacking up for Immortals. Rod of Ages 2 minutes in as well for Pobelter. The scaling will be immense, but never forget, Soul is probably the best player in the map right now. Very, very skilled man, and he's on Twitch, who is probably the king of late game right now as far as champions are concerned, and can definitely still carry a fight by playing it properly. Absolutely an option for him.
Not a known Twitch picker, did not play it in the LCK or in any of the recent promotion tournaments or Kesper Cup. Now, he might have played it in Challenge. I don't actually have those stats on hand. But regardless, it's not the praise, not a legacy Twitch player, but very much been in the meta, has been target nerfed in future patches. Everyone's coming bot lane.
Here's the attempt. Dardak wants in into Soul. Roamor going to come in pretty quickly as well, and actually he's going to slink out the other side. It's sort of still a good kill onto the Karma. That is one picked up. Double Ghost and a Realm Warp used. Soul just running away. Has not walked through any wards. This would be a safe recall spot, and in fact will not get killed for it. Mid lane lost an entire wave of farm.
Yeah, it was smart of both the bot laners to go in different directions. Camouflage, obviously, it makes it even easier for Soul because he's going to be able to evade wards. taking the path that he did. Immortals trying to collapse on bot lane and pushing up bot lane as well. Macro game looking pretty damn sturdy for Immortals. And the teleport wasn't invested in either.
Ooh, nice shotgun catches. Oh, but here comes the dive on the backside. Oh, Dardock wants a bit more, but there are no minions to tank the turret anymore. That shockwave actually saves several thousand turret HP, even if it doesn't become a kill. So smart by Edge to go for that one.
Yeah, I think that was literally just a wave clear shockwave. I don't think he was hoping for any more than that, realistically. His health bar wasn't the highest either, so it was more just, again, delaying the mid lane turret going down. Top lane turret is down. Bot lane turret is down. When that trifecta of outer turrets goes down, there are no safe places to be on the map against teleport from Flame, ghosting Hecarim, or this Ryze ult either.
And he's like, this is scary for me. He's going to walk away, but Cougar wants a bit more and doesn't want to bite into the Ryze. That was an interesting battle where they didn't have direct vision, but they all knew where each other were.
Yeah, if Soul had Infinity Edge, he'd have enough single target damage to actually trouble the Ryze. Right now, very much more of the team fight build with the Hurricane, but Infinity Edge surely coming out before too long.
Yeah, let's see what we get for ourselves here. Plenty of damage on this mid-outer turret. Doing a bit of work down to half HP here, and here we go. Roach on the wings, and doesn't leave the W in range. Walks away from Flame, who gets lanterned out by Ole. 3-0 still on this Ezreal tier, still stacking. Trinity Force done. Cooldown boots in there as well. Plenty of damage up it here for Cody Sun. Got to make sure he has the uptime to actually carry the fights.
And he's going for the Leandri, sorry, not the Leandris, the Luden's Echo build on the Orianna. We saw Bjergsen doing this at All-Star. It has become more and more of a favored build. Gone are the days of mana regen into Deathcap, or Deathcap second.
Yep.
There's kind of justifications depending on how the game is going. If the Orianna's snowballing, it's more burst. If she's behind, it's a cheaper power spike. And also the movement speed in this game could be pretty consequential. Let's see if there's actually follow-up damage here.
Gets a slow, gets the root in. They really want to take down Punch. Let's see if they can do it. Not much more to do, though, for Flame. And looks like it's a couple of minor cooldowns burned. Cobalt Cody Sun back into the mid lane just to clear the minions a little bit faster. Why not save a few seconds? 1 minute and 20 until the Drake respawns, and the Realm Warp should be up by then anyway.
Just to finish the point on Ludens, I think the 10% move speed against the likes of the Hecarim, the Ryze, just giving Orianna a hope in hell of being able to actually sidestep one of these engages when her flash is down. Because otherwise, you go Deathcap, your flash is down. Basically, your position has to be the most conservative possible, whereas an extra 10% move speed might give her other options in fight. Waiting to see how things come together. Still no Infinity Edge for Soul. That's where Twitch really starts to get ahead. Behind in CS, and Cody Sun this time in a good place. 2 items, not quite mirror mana. Plenty of mobility on this Ezreal. No real excuses given the position for Cody Sun to not actually have a positive impact in fights.
And Kongdoo Monster, yes, they have the Rek'Sai and the Poppy. Those champions can reach backline, but generally speaking, I feel like Kongdoo here are going to be a very frontline focused team, especially when they're playing double shield of the Twitch. You're just going to kind of line up and hope you can fight like a 1776, really.
We saw that particular duo actually struggle to hold down the Vayne in Liquid's game, where you either get on top of the Ezreal or Vayne in this case, burn them down instantly, or you get kited. That's just the reality. Ezreal has so much mobility that you can kite in the backline. And it's very difficult to instantly burst down an Ezreal with all the mobility. We saw the frustrations that Immortals themselves had trying to lock down Soul in the previous game. So it is a great spot for Cody Sun, and we'll see if he can actually translate that into the fight impact he needs to have.
The rest of Immortals in a pretty good spot as well. Looking for this Infernal Drake, easily enough to pick up. Good for them. 3,500 gold lead. Infernal versus Ocean. See if they have enough damage as they continue to try to play for map control. They have definitely been stymied for a while. The last thing they gained was this Infernal Drake.
Feels like
still not getting the mid turret.
Feels like in League of Legends we don't follow the Pokemon rules. I don't know if Ocean beats Fire.
No.
Not
unlikely.
in fights. Not in fights, so Nintendo and Riot disagreeing on philosophy, I guess.
I suppose so a little bit. It is worth noting, though, that the types of things teams get away with is now a little bit different. Kongdoo Monster, you actually saw, for example, when that mid lane wave shockwave came in and Edge got chunked, he was able to stay in mid lane because of Ocean Drake. He was at under half HP, would have been forced to recall if not for a Drake take. I mean that very sincerely. And that ended up, granting him a couple more minutes of wave clear when he wasn't diveable.
I choose to think that's slightly glass half full, but I do track what you're saying. It can lead to patterns that just won't happen if you don't have any regen.
And that's really what I think is interesting, just as this game is a bit slower, talking about things like Mountain, Ocean, and Cloud Drakes is Infernal is always useful no matter what you're doing. You can last hit a bit easier, you can sometimes burst people out, but you're allowed to play differently sometimes with these other Drakes. We're seeing an attempt here, and for the mid lane, Dardoch got to run away for this one. Pops his Ghost, actually was afraid of Punch getting the knock up into a Shockwave, and Dardoch saving that cooldown. Ole chunked out. You can see the Luden's Echo, extra damage, definitely helping.
And now the word respect has to come up because suddenly we're seeing some very respectful plays from Dardoch using his Ghost in that scenario. Ghost actually opens up damage for someone like a Hecarim. Soul can enter lane here.
Could be a very scary 2-on-2 on towards Bullbelter. And that's going to be another escape away. Ghost popped by the Rise. Just for a regular tunnel cooldown, that is a summoner spell down.
But the moment Infinity Edge is complete and ult is popped from Twitch, you're suddenly not tanky if you're Dardoch.
You've got to be respectful.
The Flame has one armor item and the Ninja Tabi, so it's getting there. It's not quite there yet. But
Dardoch for Soul.
Dardoch is health and damage. He's got nothing else going, so he has to be respectful.
Even Swifty boots, right? So missing a lot of those tools. So we'll see if they can poke down on Edge. Of course, extra mana regen never hurt either. As Flame continues to try to fight with Roach, who also gets to benefit from the Ocean Drake regen. And maybe gets a bit more wave control because of it.
I actually misunderstood Infernal Drake the first time. I actually thought it was 8% extra AD and AP only counting towards champion damage.
Yeah, it's everything.
And when I realized it was everything, then suddenly it just, to me, that's why it was that rapid ascent, because it even helps you to take the neutrals that 10% bonus damage to Baron and turrets does. So it is, in fact, that Everyman Drake.
It does everything. It does everything. A little bit of everything.
Finally, they do get down.
Nicely done.
The mid lane turret that they've been looking for. And this is where Immortals should have to play very smartly around Baron, because they've got that outer ring of turrets down. In fact, only a single turret down for Kongdoo, and they have space both to push up vision and get the picks that should cement their lead with the Baron that should actually close out the game.
And it's gonna, I mean, it definitely looks better than it did in game one. Immortals holding on to a solid 5,000 gold lead. It's a greater than 10% gold difference. That's always the mark I look at. Greater than 10% starts to really mean something. Just, it's an easy break point to look at. It is slow going for them, and this team does have reasonably good siege tools. They have two good divers. Their two major carries are ranged. Sometimes you've got champions like Echo, where sieging turrets is very hard, or champion like Vayne, where sieging turrets is very hard. This is not the case here for Immortals, and it does feel a little bit slow for me, but all that said, they are winning. They are doing a good job. We're not seeing these major mistakes where they're giving these openings away. They're not, letting Drake sneak out from under them. They're not giving away free turrets they shouldn't be. So progress is still forward, even if slightly slow.
And they have the natural answers to the gambits that Kongdoo is sending. Specifically, as I said, I don't really know what a true 5v5 team fight looks like where both Edge and Soul are doing damage without a huge pick. And speaking of picks, it's going to be Flame looking for the big TP.
Let's see if they can find a bit of a slow on a punch. Actually misses the hook. He expected the dodge, didn't happen. And that's Soul getting caught out. Fear to the mix. And that's the pick out by Bullbelter. Nicely played by Dardoch. Ole has the shield. He's fine for this one. Shockwave flashed away by Bullbelter. Means a kill onto Edge. That's 2 for 0 so far. Let's see if they can find anything more on this one. At the very least, it should be a turret or another major objective. Look at that Bullbelter. Q, W, Q, E, Q, all the damage he needs. Nice pickup, and that's going to mean actually 6,000 gold lead plus Baron.
And that just shows what I was going to get to, which was the comp answers the questions, especially ahead that Kongdoo are posing out. There's no way for Orianna and Twitch to do damage when there's a flank, when Hecarim can ult in. They're turning on to Baron. Optimistic to try to interrupt this one.
Back two.
Punches here.
Gonna tackle Dardoch. Good damage there, but the Baron is not reset yet. But Ole's getting low. Keep in mind, Punch is around. They've got to land this smite. It's gonna be a close timing effort. Cody goes for the kill. Smartly played early smite. Ooh, that could have been a steal by Roach because of the bad smite timing. But it still does mean the Baron's picked up and the delayed ace picked up 13-4, 9,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the game completely exploded here, and Immortals finally have the lead that cements another good early game for an NA team versus Korean team. Soul DPS'd out. All the different flanks that Immortals can come from negates champions like Orianna and Twitch, especially if you're ahead, especially when you have the outer ring of turrets down. Suddenly there's so many avenues for Ryze to show up, for Hecarim to engage, for the Maokai to come. Multiple flanks, not even including things like the Realm Warp, answered first Soul, then Edge, then Kongdoo Monster, and now they're in a massive hole against Immortals.
And of course a massive lead similarly for Immortals, depending on which reference point you use to look at this game. I have to give a lot of props, honestly, to Dardoch. It's 2 games in a row, and pretty much every game this entire tournament, he has got his team the early lead via his ganking. Dardoch, from statistics, especially in the first 10 minutes, feels like maybe the best jungler at this tournament. Just in terms of results, you can say the pedigree is different for someone like Ambition, and that might be true, but Dardoch has gotten several great ganks off with a team that often has had losing lanes. So I've got to give him a lot of credit. His team fight right there was great as well. 3-2-8 is a wonderful scoreline. 11 out of 13 KP is a great mark here, and it's going to be very tanky as we crest into this late game.
And it's not trivial that he's doing that on picks like the Hecker in this game, where he was on the same wavelength as his Korean support Ole in the early game when they went for that big flash engage with the Thresh. And then working with his top laner, we've already seen the bromance between Flame and Dardoch on Twitter, and in game they've had some very good duo performances. So the fact that he's integrating so well with the most difficult players to integrate with, the players that come from a different culture with a different language, is already a step forward for a player that justifiably has had question marks about how he integrates into a team.
Absolutely, and for what it's worth, Dardoch's previous team was 2 Koreans as well, playing with Phoenix and Piglet, so at least he's had some training wheels and interacting with foreigners on his team, I think is an appropriate term for that one. But also what's nice to sort of look at is this game is not Flame hard carrying. It's an Immortals game where it's actually the rest of the team, the domestic talent, actually doing a lot of the work here. Cody's son, unkilled, Pobelter, 5-1-2, Dardoch, you know, again, 11 of 13 KP. Like, it's good to finally see more than just Flame doing all the hard work, and this is a good-looking win here for Immortals if they can close it out.
Yeah, I really like the Hecarim pick. It undid the Twitch. It would have been Twitch or Jin. I think both of them equally are kind of answered by Hecarim, especially if the Hecarim gets ahead. So nice drafting, good clean stuff from Immortals. They're so far ahead now that the poke is really hurting the side of Kongdoo, and it's going to have to be some sort of miracle engage or a huge pick, and I just don't see how that happens for Kongdoo Monster.
Yeah, it seems very unlikely, but you never know. One good team fight and Soul can crush people. He's got 50% crit chance. He's working towards that Lord Dominic's regards. He's very close to the combine, maybe 700 gold based on what's in his inventory right now, and maybe he can cut through the front line. Flame and Dardoch gonna look for the dive onto Roach. A little bit of time bought out, and tackles away towards the inhibitor. Let's see if there's more to be had. Roach at 1500 HP. Flame still tanking up in the front line. The Redemption comes off, and Soul is here to get some damage output. But is there really going to be enough done? Redemption heal. A big play comes in. There's the dive as well. Soul has time to open up. Can he kill them all off? He is untouched in this team fight, but it's still the Orianna going down. Edge has dropped. The hook's going to land. They find Roach. Soul's still alive, but it's Cody's son with the triple, looking for more, looking for the quadra. Can't quite find the kill onto Soul, but the team fight win is there. It's a 4-for-1 in favor of Immortals. That could be the game-winning play. Soul has to win this 1 versus 4. Looks for Dardoch, gets the kill actually. And now has to heal one more time. Has to reset. Pobelter looking to zone him out. TP back in for Flame. The flash, the follow. The kill is in there. And game 2 goes to Immortals. They pull it into game 3. We've got a series on our hands.
Really exciting to see, and I knew this was going to be a fun one, Freak, and I thought that might just be spirited plays by Immortals, but an overall 2-0 to Kongdoo. Immortals looked a lot cleaner here. They finally got that outer mid lane tower that eluded them for 20 minutes. They turned it out really smartly, and it was good to see good ordered play. There weren't the same misplays that Team Liquid made in game 1 yesterday, and it's just a lot of excitement here. I like the draft, I like the play, and now, suddenly, it's all up in a best-of-1 to decide who will play Samsung in the grand final tomorrow.
And this is definitely heartening a lot for Immortals. The fact they were able to make this game look pretty solid. I think there were still some elements of training wheels here. The fact that Karma was out of lane for a full minute really helped Cody's son hold on to that bot lane because they were getting pushed in earlier. He was getting really destroyed over in game 1, but if they can keep their games looking like this, Immortals have a real shot.
Yeah, Soul played well, but you're only as strong as your front line as an AD carry. Big difference in goal between the teams, a big difference in front lines. Twitch got a full ult and basically scratched multiple members, but couldn't take any of them down. And
yeah.
Good stuff for Immortals.
Yeah, Soul was untouched in that last team fight and just couldn't put out enough of the damage, and that is your goal difference at work. That is 100%. That fight was a goal difference fight. Immortals were smart to take it. Of course, they were ahead about 11k by that point, so it is the right thing to go for. And now it's up for Kongdoo Monster to reset, to go back, and to once again find another finals appearance in a major tournament. And of course, we know they have what it takes. We know the laners are absolutely amazing, and they typically are winning mid and bot lane and farm. Just this one was turned pear-shaped by that bot lane gank.
A few weeks in, they know their limits, and that's exciting to see. Will they know enough to take the series? We're going to find out after this.